Much as $700 billion.
And we've just had announced that the dollar of 1939 will now purchase 45 cents in its total value.
President Obama is expected to face tough questions over the U.S. decision to pump $600 billion freshly printed dollars into its economy. Now, the move is an attempt to revive the country's finances, but will result in a devaluation of the dollar.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours,
you'll construct a legal regime to make indefinite detention legal.
History will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers.
For some trips, it'll be faster than flying, without the pat down.
Anna was picked to go through. Pretty much everybody except the baby was picked to go through the scanner.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Damn America, that's in the Bible.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
I've got a core set of values that I think have to be advanced, and that my individual salvation depends on our collective salvation.
You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down.
We had an election, and it was about a direction for our country.
And regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. In this vote harvesting time, they use terms like the Great Society, or as we were told a few days ago by the President, we must accept a greater government activity in the affairs of the people.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. In the end, that's what this election is about.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so.
Over the course of 10 years, it would cost what it would cost us. All right, okay, we're going to. It would cost us about the same as it would cost.
Welcome back. You're listening to the DELOACH Approach right here on WNLMradio.com and on Spreaker.com and SoundCloud and TuneIn.com and lots of other places. And we're so glad that you've joined us. We're in the final segment of our show tonight. I am always amazed at how quick this show goes by. It amazes me. We do a 2-hour show every weekend, and it just flies by. We were talking in the last segment about the debate. And by the way, that's not the last ones. Don't worry. There's going to be plenty more. But while that has been the big news this week, the debate this last week, there was plenty of other news out there. One of the most interesting stories was Hillary Clinton's poll numbers that continue to slide, even before the debate. And by the way, over and over again, people keep saying that she's the obvious nominee. I don't think so, Tim. I don't think that's going to be the case. I really think that she's going to be out of the race before convention time rolls around. That's just my thought. And if the Minnesota Free Beacon is correct, it may be sooner rather than later. Tell us about this, Lisa. This is an interesting story that came out on the 4th of August.
Yes, indeed. The Free Beacon says that a new poll has Hillary Clinton's favorability hitting an all-time low this month. But she received perhaps some of the most troubling news on Tuesday. The people of Minnesota, a traditionally blue state, view D's nuts in higher regard than her. D's Nuts is an official presidential candidate as of a week ago. His entry into the race may prove problematic for the 67-year-old candidate, according to a poll conducted by Public Policy Polling, PPP. Minnesotans have yet to form a strong opinion of the political newcomer, whose overall favorability is minus 5%. 3% of Gopher State voters view him favorably, with 8% rating him unfavorably. Clinton, however, only has an approval rating of 35% of Minnesotans, compared to 49% who say they do not support the Democrat, according to a poll released in June, putting her 14 points underwater. Nationally, an NBC Wall Street Journal poll found 48% of Americans view her negatively, 11% more than those who have a positive view. The PPP poll found D's Nuts pulls more from potential Clinton voters than Trump. 25% to 15%, with 60% still undecided. And that is not good news for the Clinton camp, not at all. And that wasn't the end of the bad news for her, like the infomercial says. But wait, there's more.
That's right. Nick, have you got a clip you can play for us? I think we've got one queued up.
It absolutely is, but it's worse than that. I saw emails, not the ones that the inspectors general saw. I saw emails that have been revealed under the Freedom of Information Act. And in them, she's discussing the location of French fighter jets during the NATO bombardment of Libya, how big the no-fly zone is, where the no-fly zones are, and are you ready for this? The location of Ambassador Stevens, who of course was murdered, in Libya. If that is not classified, if she didn't think that was classified, she has no business being in public office.
There are 30,000 emails that we're told she deleted, more than she actually saved.
Right.
Then the server was destroyed. I got to ask, does that now raise questions of possible potential charges of obstruction of justice?
It depends on when the server was destroyed, how it was destroyed, and who destroyed it. But look, the timeline is very perilous for her, because she doesn't even acknowledge that she has these things until after the New York Times report comes out. Then suddenly 33,000 emails are destroyed. They belong to the government. They didn't belong to her.
What about the thumb drive that David Kendall, her attorney, has?
He is not authorized to possess that. A, the documents belong to the federal government. B, we know there are documents in there that appear to be classified, and he lacks a classified security clearance.
Wow.
All right, now, folks, in case you didn't recognize the voices, that was Sean Hannity, who was talking to former Judge Andrew Napolitano. And he was a Superior Court judge. Where was it? In Massachusetts? I can't remember.
So.
But he is a Fox News contributor and is a strong constitutionalist.
Absolutely.
And wow. If what he's saying is true, not only should Hillary Clinton not be on the campaign trail, she should probably be in jail somewhere.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a huge deal. And if this is 100% accurate, and I have no reason whatsoever to doubt the judge, he said he saw these with his own eyes.
Yes.
Then this woman is in big trouble, and she needs to be punished for her crimes. Regardless of the outcome, it's clear she's corrupt from top to bottom.
Well, that's certainly true. And I'll tell you, he said that he got these emails through a Freedom of Information Act. So he read the actual emails. And what he's saying is, she's saying that she didn't reveal any classified information. And he listed about 4 or 5 things there.
Right.
That were obviously classified information that she was sending out via email.
Right. And my goodness.
Through a server that was not secured like a government server would be secured. There's a reason why we have those kind of laws. It's to keep politicians, from hiding things.
My friend in England, Andrew, he just said by the way, he's the one who sent me Gilmore's name. And also, he just said that Judge Napolitano served as high court judge in New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
Thank you, Andrew. You are hired.
He's been our research guy tonight, and we appreciate that. We can use all the help that we can get, particularly when news is going so fast and fluidly as it is right now.
Absolutely.
And that's only going to continue to heighten as we move toward the convention next year, and then the debates that come from that. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to say something here that's going to be shocking. It's going to be shockingly provocative. I hope you're sitting down, but it's clear that Hillary Clinton has been lying all along.
Yeah, I'm stunned.
There can be no doubt that she's been lying.
Oh, of course not.
She lied about Benghazi. She's lied about her emails and the use of her private server. And frankly, this is proof of that. There's simply there's not any wiggle room here. There's not any interpretation that you can throw into this mix.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think that this is why we may be seeing a shift in the winds by some behind-the-scenes Democrats. There's a draft Joe Biden movement afoot, and it's growing.
Well, yeah, and by the way, I also think it's one of the reasons why Bernie Sanders has been so incredibly popular. He's pulling bigger crowds than Hillary Clinton is pulling.
Yes, absolutely, by thousands and thousands.
And try as she may to launch and then to relaunch and then to relaunch and then to relaunch her campaign, she can't seem to get her launches right. And yet, Bernie Sanders, who is an avowed socialist, is drawing crowds that are 3 and 4 and 5 and 10 times larger than her crowds.
Right. Well, and let's also take another look at Hillary and remember that she was originally part of Watergate as well.
Yes, that's right.
And she was fired from Watergate.
Yeah,
that's right. She was dismissed for unethical conduct.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the one scandal that led to the only resignation of a U.S. president, and she was involved with it.
That's right. That's exactly right. Now, you mentioned the draft Joe Biden movement.
Yes, absolutely. And it's so interesting. Yahoo.com wrote this story on August the 1st and said, after raising $1 million for Barack Obama during his 2 presidential runs, New York businessman John Cooper was exactly the kind of high-powered political bundler Hillary Clinton wanted on her team during this year's run. But after agreeing to serve as a hill starter, as the Clinton campaign has dubbed its elite fundraisers, Cooper sat down at his computer a few months ago to write a fundraising pitch for the former Secretary of State and froze. I was trying to come up with a rationale for her candidacy, and I couldn't do it, Cooper tells Yahoo News. Clinton, he concluded, was, quote, too calculating, too cautious, too controlled, unquote. So now Cooper, who owns a large manufacturing firm on suburban Long Island and had previously raised money for Clinton's 2000 Senate campaign, has signed on as the National Finance Chair for the Draft Biden Committee, one of a small but growing group of Democratic moneymen that is trying to prod the vice president into shaking up the Democratic race by making one more run for the presidency. Quote, when we started a few months ago, everyone thought we were tilting at windmills, said William Pierce, executive director of the Draft Biden Committee, a super PAC that has raised more than $110,000 since last March and collected more than 180,000 signatures for online petitions. But just in the last few days, we're seeing a lot of momentum. And if Biden's answer was no, he could have shut this down like that, unquote. Driving that conversation, new polls show Clinton's standing steadily slipping since she announced her candidacy last April, with 57% of the electorate now viewing her as neither honest nor trustworthy, according to a Quinnipiac survey. We don't know what she really believes. She's not trustworthy and she's not authentic, Mandel said. I think there's an 80% chance she's going to implode. Now listen to this. At Clinton headquarters in Brooklyn, campaign officials are closely monitoring the draft Biden effort, tapping their own sources to determine the vice president's intentions, and in an effort to reassure donors, aggressively pushing back on the poll numbers. Quote, "She's been under relentless focus and under a lot of attacks for the last few months," said Jennifer Palmieri, the Clinton campaign's communication director. "But questions about honesty and trustworthiness are beside the point," she argues. "That's not the question voters have in their head.